Walid Phares, our guest. We'll take some phone calls as well, so stay on the lines. The Coming Revolution, the name of the book, The Struggle for Freedom in the Middle East. And guess what? It's playing out before our eyes. We're seeing the documentary of your book, aren't we, Walid Phares?
It's a miracle. The first radio show on the book was here in December with you. And we spoke about it, and we projected that it's going to happen, but not with that speed.
And you're talking about 18 days. Hosni Mubarak out after 30-plus years. We don't know what's going to fill the gap, and we're heartened that this is a Western-trained military that thought that their people's lives were more valuable than their ruler's power.
The difference between Egypt and Iran is that in Egypt, the armed forces have been trained by us. They know they can't shoot against their own people. That's why the revolution was possible in Egypt. But now there is a race between the Muslim Brotherhood, who are organizing themselves and going very fast, and the secular youth. We need to get close to the secular youth.
So you're telling me the young people of Iran want the same thing Egypt gave, and Egypt will help fuel the unrest to get it back to the 2009 level?
We are now at a stage where after Egypt, the whole region is going towards demonstrations, but it could go in different directions. In Iran, the youth who have been trained for that, who've seen in 2009 1.5 million people taken to the streets, they want to do it again. It's going to be gradual, it's going to be long,
right,
and it's going to be tough.
You know, I just saw, too, is that people have already paid for their lives on Monday. Right now, they say about 100,000 people, showed up in protests in Tehran, but about 10,000 soldiers/police came back and arrested over 200 and killed a handful.
Well, the Iranian regime think that in the beginning of the first stage, they should go very harsh to break it, to break the backbone of it.
Like they did in 2009.
Yes, but two things are important and different here. Number one is that the youth have learned. They are going in small packs. They are going in different neighborhoods. It's almost a peaceful guerrilla force against the regime. They want it to last longer. And the second most important thing is that our government finally is making some shy statement, but much better than before.
Well, they called them out as hypocrites because Iran was celebrating the ouster of Hosni Mubarak, and they said, isn't it great, praising the protesters. Now, yesterday, they have their own protesters, and what do? Arrest 250, wound about a dozen, 10,000 police go out to try to suppress 200,000, and that just shows what hypocrites they are. But they're not necessarily, from what I know, Walid, what do your sources say they want? Freedom or an opportunity just to get another government there with Sharia law?
Iran?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. This is the most advanced, progressive, in a sense of democracy-seeking youth. These are very educated people. They are online. We know exactly what they want. They want a liberal democracy, pluralism, but it goes by age. The older people who are in the demonstrations, they want to change Ahmadinejad. The younger, meaning 80% of everybody else, they want exactly what we want. We can see them on Facebook. I mean, we can read what they want.
Now, what I find very heartening is that I think, it's hard to settle down the Middle East. It's hard to solve the world's problems. But if there was a planter's wart in the Middle East that needs to be pulled out, it's Iran. Because their tentacles lead to problems everywhere.
Absolutely. First of all, it's an oil-producing regime. It has a lot of cash. Second of all, they are totalitarian. And three, they have the tentacles, as you said, in Iraq, in Lebanon, alliance with Syria, in northern Yemen, in eastern Arabia, in Bahrain recently. They have an alliance with Hugo Chavez here. So this is really the replica of the Soviet Union today. If that is solved, if the Iranian regime goes down, we have solved half of the war on terror. Half.
Yeah, I think that if you look at that's the Shia half, perhaps.
Exactly, that's the Shia half. Then the other Sunni half, or Salafi half, would be Al-Qaeda. But Al-Qaeda is not centralized as the Iranian regime is.
Now, what do you think that if you were advising the administration, which did a good job yesterday in getting the Secretary of State out front saying something, where in 2009 they took 10 days to say, hey, be easy on your people, to paraphrase Barack Obama. You had another idea how to push it forward. How do we tell the people we support you without invading the country?
Absolutely. First of all, we don't need to invade the country. The country is already invaded by its own democratic forces. What we have said yesterday, what Clinton said yesterday, we should have said it in 2009, and now we should have been at a different point. Number one, we should tell the demonstrators, we're with you. That would multiply their ranks.
You want to see President Obama today at this press conference, if he gets a question question, which he probably will.
Yeah.
Say, if someone says, what do you say to the people of Iran? You want him to say something like that.
We stand with the people of Iran as it's expressing its freedom. It's very simple. It's under international law.
Why would they care about us? What would that do?
The dissidents, every dissident tells us, as the European dissidents told us after the collapse of the Soviet Union, that your words are very important. It gives us credibility among our people. The labor are waiting, the peasants are waiting, the unions are waiting in Iran to see if they engage in this confrontation, the international community would be with them. And who else in the international community has the weight of the words of the president?
Walid Phares is our guest. The name of the book is The Coming Revolution, and he predicted this, and now we're witnessing it and trying to catch up to what the people there want. Now, yesterday I told you the statistics. Now, you also said to threaten the regime in this way, if you start killing your people, murdering like you did Neda, what was her name? Neda, like you did Neda and others. And the president could even point that out today. We saw what you did.
Absolutely.
You will find yourself at The Hague. Will that matter to the grand Ayatollah?
Absolutely. Chief of police, chief of security, they've seen before in the international community that when they go against civilians and their names are named all over, then after the regime is going down, they will be going to The Hague.
Milosevic, for example.
Milosevic,
they see that?
Of course. I mean, Milosevic, the Sudanese leader, the people in Africa, the militias who killed many people, all of that is very important. That would basically deter the Pasdaran. That would deter, and more than important than that, the Pasdaran owns banks in Tehran.
Wow. So money does matter.
Money matters.
Are you worried about the West Bank dissolving their parliament and holding elections? Because I'm worried about Hamas winning like they did in Gaza.
I think this is politics, Palestinian politics. I think if the Palestinian Authority wants to hold elections, they have measured already that they may carry it. It may not be a landslide 99% as usual in the Arab world. It could be about 65% still, not with Hamas.
What are the chances of them forming a freer society in Egypt? Is it 50-50 or are you more optimistic than that?
I'd say 51-49 for the second.
That close?
Yeah, that close, because they are not organized. Numbers-wise, the Muslim Brotherhood can reach 25%, but very organized 25%. The rest, the 75%, are disorganized, disunited.
Mohammed al-Bardi, do you want to see him running that country?
I would not. I would like to see him part of the interim team, maybe a prime minister for 1 year or so, but he's not really the leader who is going to take Egypt to peace and progress.
Tends to be a little anti-American, tends to be a little anti-Israeli.
And he's very pragmatic. Certainly he's not going to keep the peace as Mubarak did.
Syria says, if you want to know what the chances you're going to have protesters being successful, go back to 1981 when we had unrest in one town. And my dad killed 40,000 people. We'll do it again. Does that scare the Syrians back into their homes?
I was in Beirut when I heard on the radio the screams of the Syrians who have been killed later on by the Syrian regime. It was in the city of Hama. Tens of thousands were liquidated. He used the tanks. He used Air Force.
On his own people.
On his own people. And some even were joking, saying he used the Navy, although the city is inside Syria. He used everything he's got. But the Syrians now are also watching what's happening around them, and this is the window of opportunity. So if it goes down in Iran, I expect also the reformers in Syria to rise. This is an amazing time that we're seeing.
And Saudi Arabia sent 100 women out to the Department of Interior to protest to get their husbands released. Is that the most we can expect there?
No, we're going to see more. The more you see around Saudi Arabia, coming from Egypt, coming from Iran, the more online, the more our president and Western leaders will speak.
Hey, if you want to know exactly what's going on and be able to impress your friends, family, and just be smarter all around, read The Coming Revolution. Walid Phares, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Keep